people who might say it's a dominating move. and well, I think a lot of people think this is a religion in the public square. We've removed Christianity from the public square. Why is Islam coming into the public square?
We are not here like to dominate anything.
I think it's great, actually. As a faith leader that shares this space downtown, I'm happy to share this space. I'm happy that we exist in this country under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which guarantees that my community and any other community can worship the way that they want to and they feel called to.
I'm as much Canadian as you.
Well, do you believe in the separation of mosque and state?
Who believes in that?
So you don't.
What does that have to do with here?
Well, you're projecting a Muslim call to prayer in a secular city.
When the church bells rings, do you do anything?
Oh, does
No,
it?
you don't. So that's why. You guys are not welcome in our community, man.
Ezra Levant here for Rebel News. On this sunny summer's day, I'm in the heart of Regina, Saskatchewan. Regina is the Latin word for queen. In fact, I'm standing on Victoria Avenue. Behind me is Queen Elizabeth Court. It's what they call that massive city hall. I wouldn't have thought they needed such a big city hall to run a city of 270,000, but there it is. We really are in the center of town. Over there is the Court of King's Bench. Over there is the taxation office. Around where we are, within a block or two in many directions, are several old churches. The most prestigious hotel in town. It is the center of the action. There's even a YWCA, Young Women's Christian Association building over there. But there's a new arrival in the heart of Regina, and it's just down at the end of the block there. An old building has been bought and is being renovated to be turned into two things. One of them is an Islamic school. The other, an Islamic mosque. Now, on the face of it, that's how it is. You bring people from around the world with different faiths. They have freedom of religion in Canada, something they often don't have in other countries. But this mosque is a little bit different. Last week, it decided that it would blast the call to prayer called the Adhan in Arabic for the entire downtown core to hear. Now, the call to prayer is just what it sounds like. And if you've ever been to the Middle East, you may have heard it in its natural habitat. The muezzin, or the singer, climbs typically to the top of a minaret and calls people to prayer, because that's how it was when Islam was founded some 1,400 or so years ago. There weren't cell phones to call people. There weren't electronic alarms or apps. You called people out by singing a prayer. It's 2026 and this is Regina. Why are you blasting a call to prayer? Well, it's a question that a lot of Reginans were asking. And the answers, well, I'm not sure if they were persuasive, especially since some of the answers came from Regina's police department. Bizarrely, the police weighed in on this matter, saying they're making notes of anyone who's hateful and there may be criminal charges. Now, noise is a sensitive issue in every city. And on one hand, I mean, there's the sound of everyday life and traffic and whatnot. But even right in front of City Hall, you can see that there are citizens petitioning for noise dampening rules, noise dampening walls. Noise is an issue. And for this mosque to go ahead and blast the call to prayer in all four directions, what are they doing that for? It's not like there's Muslims wandering by who would have forgotten what time it is and they need this. That is a dominance move. That is a political dominance move to assert their territory. It's similar to what we've seen in other Canadian cities like Toronto and Montreal, where hundreds of Muslims lie down for prayers in the middle of the street. There's 100 mosques in Montreal, 100 mosques in Toronto. There's no need to pray in the street. I say again, that's a territorial domination move. And there's one more thing that's on my mind. Of course, it's not just the noise. It's the message itself. I looked up the Adhan to get a translation. I already knew what some of the words meant. You probably do too. It starts with Allahu Akbar 4 times in a row. You probably know that means Allah, the Muslim God, is the greatest. And it goes on from there. Let me read it to you. Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. Allah is the greatest 4 times. And then it says, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. And that's repeated. And then there's a few more lines, and then there's come to prayer, come to success. Allah is the greatest. There is no God but Allah. Now that's said in Arabic. How do you feel about a message being blasted all over town that there is no God? There's a church literally across the street from that mosque. It's going to be blasted with messages that there is no God. Who are you praying to? A Jewish God, a Christian God? You revere Jesus? Who do you follow? There's no God but Allah. Don't you know that? And even if you think you have a God, don't you know that Allah is greater? They're going to blast that out on the loudspeakers. You know, I've seen the Regina media cover this story fawningly. They don't want to talk about it. They want to sneak this in the back door. I don't know why, other than it undermines Canada's Christian heritage. I mentioned Queen Elizabeth, Queen Victoria. The city is named for the queens. You may or may not know this, but constitutionally, the British monarch is the head of the Church of England. There actually is a state religion in the UK, and those monarchs are our monarchs too. King Charles is the head of the Church of England. Now, of course, we do have freedom of religion, but since when do we repaint Regina or any other Canadian city as an Islamic territory? Since when do we grant them a special status? And don't use the word diversity to me. Don't use the word tolerance. When the message you're blasting is there are no other religions, then there are no other gods. And when you're aiming that at the churches in the area, don't tell me that that's a message of diversity. That is a domination tactic to blast at the city hall, to blast at the Young Women's Christians organization, to blast at the churches and cathedrals. That's what that's about. It's 11 a.m. We're here a little bit early because they're going to have a press conference at 1 p.m., the hour that they intend to blast the message out today. It'll be interesting to see if they let Rebel News in. They did send us a formal invitation, which we took up. In fact, we flew all the way to Regina. It's more expensive to get here than you think. If you're glad that we're out here to have independent reporting on this rather than the fawning coverage of the CBC, please go to stopislamicdomination.com to help chip in a few dollars towards our airfare and sign our petition. I think that it's important that the political leaders of this city realize that this move to assert dominion over the heart of the city by one religious group preaching intolerance. When you say there's no other God but Allah, when you say Allah is the best, and when you're blasting that at the church, I'm sorry, you can't get away with saying that's about diversity. You just can't. All right, we've got 2 hours to the press conference. I'll let you know how it goes. Do you guys have an opinion about the mosque playing the call to prayer over the loudspeakers? Have you heard about that one?
Not worried about it. I'm a Lutheran pastor, and I think that religious freedom is extremely important in our society, and that we're much too quick to clamp down on people who might look or think or believe a little differently.
Can I talk to you about the mosque? About the call to prayer? How do you feel about the call to prayer that's going to be made, the adhan?
Sorry, I don't have
Okay,
time.
no problem. See you later. Maybe he needs to hear the call to prayer to remember to go in.
Yeah, I don't want to give
fair
comment on
deal.
that.
That's a spicy one, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Sorry,
Okay,
guys.
see ya.
For what, for Rebel News?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm okay, thank
Okay,
you.
see ya. Have you heard that? No. Do you have an opinion on that?
No comment.
Okay, okay, thank you. No comment. How do you feel about the call to prayer being broadcast on the speakers?
My English slow. Road. Yeah, now construction close the road. Yeah.
Do you go to that mosque there?
Mosque.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know me here mosque.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Do you go to a mosque around here? Do you go to that one?
Which mosque is this area downtown? I don't know me. Another I will go out south another place.
Oh, where are you from originally?
I'm from Ethiopia.
Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Okay, nice to talk with you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
We don't want to answer no questions. You'll see when it starts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't like Rebel News. Rebel News is fake.
Oh,
You guys are fake, man. You guys like to start problems. You guys don't come to our community starting problems, man. You guys just bring your alt-right bullshit to Canada, you know? Putting me on camera too. You guys are alt-right. You guys are like the MAGA of Canada. You guys are like the MAGA of Canada. You guys are not welcomed in Canada. You guys are not welcome in our community. So please just exit.
Well, where are you from originally?
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Canada, fourth
from
generation.
Canada too.
We have an accent.
No, I don't have an accent. You have an accent.
I don't think you're actually from
You're
Canada.
Scottish. I think you're Scottish.
You know, that's a
You
compliment.
guys are Scottish. You guys are not Canadian, man.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Scottish. Don't act like you're Canadian.
Unless your name is Ezra Levant.
That is my name. How are you? Nice to meet you. So, why are you here today?
I just want to see what's going on down here. You see a lot of stuff in the media. I wanted to see it for myself.
Looks like there's a bit of a crowd gathering. What's the buzz in the community? A lot of people don't want to talk to us. I think they're afraid of publicly saying something that is politically incorrect.
Well, that's pretty much the norm these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Being called a racist for everything. Yeah. So I think that's what's happening.
Hi. How you doing today? I'm Ezra. It's my friend Lincoln. Do we expect someone from the police to... I was going to say, is there anyone from the police that's going to say anything? Okay, that's all I'm asking. Is someone going to be speaking here today from the police? So you won't even, so they won't be here in person, or they will?
You can contact our media.
You're not being very helpful. I mean, I'm not asking you a substantive question. I just want to know, will the police spokesman be here or not?
Or you can contact our media department to discuss that.
Are you here to make hate crime charges against people who question the mosque?
You can direct all your questions to our media.
That's an easy one to say no to if the answer is no. All right. There's Regina's finest. My first question was a pretty simple one. Will there be a spokesman from the Regina police here? And the reason I ask is threefold. First of all, it's very unusual, I think, and I have to look into this some more, to get a broadcasting permit, a sound or a noise permit from the police rather than from City Hall. Why is it happening through the police? Second of all, is the Regina police put out a statement that could only be seen as menacing. If you ask the wrong questions, you could be facing criminal prosecutions. I would also ask them, hey, how are you, boss? I'm trying to find a spokesman. Is there going to be a spokesman down here today? Do you know if there's going to be a spokesman down here today? Don't know. You're just here to make sure nothing gets out of hand? They're not so brave when a camera's on. But what I want to know is, why are the police putting out statements with some menace behind it? Who told them to do so? Did the mosque ask for that? Did a politician ask for that? The police involvement here is not trivial. We tried to ask a bunch of people in Saskatchewan, in Regina here, what they thought of this, and they were afraid to say anything. At most, they said no comment, and others said, oh, I can't answer that. I wonder if it's because they're worried they're going to face a hate speech charge. I think it's really weird to have what they call in law prior restraint, to threaten in advance. If the police want to make a charge because something bad happened, fill your boots. But to say that before anything happened, before there was any criticism, to threaten people, that's called prior restraint. And I think it's highly inappropriate for the police to have done so. And I think they sort of know it because they're not answering any questions, are they? They won't even tell me if they can answer questions. By the way, you know, I grew up in Calgary. I'm out east these days. But Regina in particular has a really bad crime problem. And I'm not going to get into the details of it. But believe it or not, on a proportionate basis, on a population basis, it's one of the most violent cities in Canada. And you can sort of see it just walking around the downtown core. But the police think it's so important to threaten people questioning a mosque broadcast that they've got a couple of police cars here and some warnings. So that's the priority for crime fighting in Regina, taxpayers. It's people who question a broadcast from a mosque. There's a lot of police here, and I tried to ask them about their tweet that I thought was a little bit menacing, where they suggested if you say the wrong thing, you could be in trouble. What do you make of that whole thing?
I mean, democracy's gone, right? I don't know what I'm allowed to say. I came as a Catholic just to represent myself here in my church. I don't know what I can say. I really don't. I mean, I've heard people talk about coming and just blaring their car horns or something, but even that could be a noise violation now, or a hate crime. What is hate? You know, define hate. I don't even know anymore. Those words have no meaning anymore. So what do we do?
I think the mosque broadcasting is beautiful, in my opinion.
Are you Muslim yourself?
I'm Muslim, yeah. Could you tell by looking at me?
Well, the beard, you know, and that was just a guess on my part.
Okay.
And the fact that you used the word beautiful.
What's your stand on it?
Well, I'm trying to figure it out. To me, I let me put my harshest criticisms to you. So I'm going to put my toughest stuff to you, okay?
Right.
So one of them is you don't need to broadcast a call to prayer in 2026. You don't need to, in 1,000 years ago, maybe that's what you needed to get people to come to prayer. Now you don't need to interrupt 95% of the people.
Right.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is it's a kind of domination.
Right.
And then the third
What
is,
kind of domination?
well, it's Allah Hu Akbar. Allah is the
You know
greatest.
what
There's,
that means,
I
right?
do.
God is the greatest.
Well,
You
Allah in
believe
particular.
God, right?
Yeah, but Allah in particular. It's
Allah is not one being. Allah has 99 names. Did you know that?
so. What about my first point, which is we don't need to broadcast a call to prayer in 2026. What do you think of that?
My rebuttal to that would be, it's just cultural, right? If you're promoting multiculturalism in Canada or even in Regina itself, it's just a cultural thing. Nobody's forcing you to pray,
But you're being forced to listen to it.
but you're forced to listen to church bells then because they ring down the street. I was on Sunday walking down the street. I heard it.
And what did the church bell say?
Doesn't say anything. It's
Well,
just
there-
a sound. It's the same thing as blasting music down the road.
But-
Does that disturb you?
Well, I think the fact that it's a religious message, Allah is the greatest. There's no God but Allah. That's if that was in English and it was.
There's no God but God. That's the only that if you translate that to English, which I can do.
So
for
let's say
you,
you're Hindu and you believe in multiple deities. Why do you have to listen to someone saying that you don't have a real God?
that's totally their thing. Nobody's gonna stop them on the street and
Right,
tell
but-
them, "Hey,
but they're
that's
being-
not a real God. You're believing the wrong thing."
Well, but this mosque is going to broadcast that, and they have to
Just
listen to
telling
it.
you to go pray, whether you believe in Jesus.
But no one else does
whether you
that. No
believe
other
in-
religious group does that in Canada. No other religious group broadcasts a prayer.
How are you telling me that when the Christians play the bells? Bells is the call to prayer. It's the same message.
Even if that were the same, and I don't think it is, this is a Christian country. It was founded by Christians.
It was founded by indigenous people, really. It was taken over by Christians.
Your cathedral is literally kitty corner to the new mosque. What's your view on the call to prayer being broadcast on loudspeakers?
Yeah. I think it's great, actually. As a faith leader that shares this space downtown, I'm happy to share the space. I'm happy that we exist in this country under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which guarantees that my community and any other community can worship the way that they want to and they feel called to.
I'm not angered. I'm not mad. I'm intrigued as to why this is happening in a Christian nation without like a consent. There was no consent of. Never mind all the people. People are saying they weren't asked. They didn't even ask the first people, the first nations, or no. I didn't hear there was no voting. Like there should have been maybe like a vote of the. How should I say, like a poll, maybe a poll in the city before they tested the waters with something like this?
The call to prayer says there's no God but Allah, and Allah's the greatest.
And Allah means God.
Well, it's the Muslim God. It's not the Christian God.
It's the Arabic word for God.
It's not
Use
the word
in Arabic for God.
But it doesn't refer to Jewish or Christian gods.
Well, if you're speaking to Arabic-speaking Christians, yes, it does. Or if you're speaking to Arabic-speaking Jews, it does.
Do you say Allah?
Yes. Use the word for God to speak about God.
What do you think?
No, I don't have an opinion.
Fair enough.
I'm as much Canadian as you. You know that? I'm as much Canadian as you.
Well, do you believe in the separation of mosque and state?
Who believes in that?
So you don't.
What does that have to do with here?
Well, you're projecting a Muslim call to prayer
Muslim
in a
call to
secular
prayer, so
city.
when the church bells rings, do you do anything?
Oh, does
No,
it?
you don't. So that's why. You guys are not welcome in our community, man.
Well, do you have an objection to it?
Absolutely. This is in the Middle East. Broadcast in some language that nobody understands. Where's all the French and English?
That's right. It's not bilingual.
We used to be bilingual, not anymore.
Once in a while, the church bell rings. Isn't it the same? What would you say to him?
Not at all. The bells are literally no different from the glockenspiel down there, just telling you what time it is, essentially.
Yeah.
This is a call for, again, I don't know what I'm allowed to say, right?
Yeah.
It's different. And anybody who's read the Quran knows what I'm talking about, and I'll leave it at that.
You can't control everything in the world, man.
All I'm saying is I see something in Toronto
I
and
believe in freedom, right?
yeah,
Should I have the freedom to express whatever God I like?
right. But freedom is different from the power to
It's not
broadcast it over everyone here. And by the way, I would doubt that anyone.
1 month trial, brother.
Yeah, well,
Right?
and then what's
if
next?
People really don't like it. Then
It's a ratchet.
I'm sure
It'll-
it will stop.
Really, I don't think it'll. I think things only go one way. I think that there's an Islamification of the public square in
And
Canada.
I think there's big Islamophobia in Canada.
Well, I mean, some people are afraid of Islam because they see terrorism done in the name of Islam.
I think people just take on whatever they see on the internet and live with it.
Well,
I'm Muslim. I've never committed a terrorist
I believe you.
act. I would never do something like that.
I'm very glad.
Yet
but
there's
many
still
people-
people calling me terrorists.
Well, and that's unfortunate. But do you?
Unfortunate, but it's your people. Muslims don't go around telling people you're a terrorist just because you're that color, you're that religion. Nobody does that.
But
Christians committed bare acts, lots of infidelity, lots of like disgusting acts in the world, but it's something you're just looking to fight, but it's nothing to fight.
What if you don't want to have your daily existence interrupted by a moment of Islam?
Yeah, I first of all, I'll just correct you there. We do ring our bells on occasion, and that's for everybody. And sometimes
you
we've done
equate-
that for an entire day?
Is that the same as actual specific messages about there's no God but Allah? It seems that it's fairly different.
Well, I think you could probably understand it as being different. I don't, because that's an expression of our faithful understanding. This is an expression of theirs. So I don't see any difference there. And actually, as far as noise downtown, if you were to stay here any longer than about 10 minutes, what you would hear over and over again, aside from the reason that you're here, are ambulances and fire trucks that are being called out multiple times a day for opioid overdoses. Hold on.
But there's no political reason. There's no political meaning behind those sirens. You're not being forced to listen to a Islamic prayer in the siren. The siren is get out of the way. We're saving a life.
Yeah, that's also I think a call to each one of us to be aware of things that are actually problems in our neighborhood. The call to prayer is not a problem.
I'm strongly believe that Canada is a Christian nation, and that it was founded on in the treaties, and this is maybe an attack on the identity of a Canadian identity in the treaties that we founded this nation, because we founded the treaties and the basis of this nation on Christian values.
Everyone within a kilometer hearing this, whether they want to or not. How
We ring the bells.
but the bell is a different thing than a message.
It's exactly the same message that the bell gives.
The bell is bong.
And the church did that for how many hundreds of years? Like over 1,000.
But isn't Canada a Christian country in its values and its history and its culture?
Isn't Canada a multicultural democracy in its cultures and its value? Yes, it is. And it is not and was not founded as a Christian country. Neither was the United States of America. It was founded on religious freedom because the people who came here as colonizers had suffered through the 30 Years' War, and they didn't want to repeat that kind of stupid insanity. And that devalues, destroys, and undermines the very foundation of Christianity when you use Christianity as a cudgel to those of other faiths. Christianity, by the way, also only functions well when it's in the underclass and not in power. When the church gets in bed with the emperor, the church gets a social disease.
You guys are bringing your division, your conspiracy theories.
Like what? Give me a
You guys are
conspiracy
theorists, man.
Like,
You
give
guys
me
are
an
outraged.
example.
You guys are not welcomed, man.
Well, we are welcome. We
You
were
guys are not
specifically
welcomed
invited
here,
by
man.
the imam.
You guys are not welcomed here, man.
Well, maybe not by you, but I don't even know your name.
Because you guys are coming here with your fake
Yeah,
news
you're
that
repeating
you
yourself.
do.
I think you've run out of things to say.
No, I don't. I know what you guys are about. I know what you guys' agenda is about. You guys are just here to antagonize people.
I haven't said a word to you.
guys are rebel
You
news.
antagonized
There should be
us.
fake news. There shouldn't be rebel news. There should be fake news.
I don't want to say it's fear, because if you read the Bible, a lot of people went to jail for this kind of stuff. I'm just trying not to be a coward, but at the same time too, man, I just have no words right now. I don't know what I'm allowed to say. I am genuinely rattled by this, and I know a lot of people in the city are too. And it's got to stop.
Listen, you and I have had a good conversation here. I appreciate it. Thanks very much for stopping to talk with me.
I wouldn't shake her hand.
Oh, well, that tells me everything right there, doesn't it?
when you say that there's been a separation of church and state, I know that our particular denomination was right in there with forcefully forcing people into residential schools based on their race. We joined with the government in that. There's not been a separation of church and state. So again, I don't see that there's a problem, and I don't see it as muscling in. I see that the police are here because I've been talking to them all week to make sure that everyone in this place is kept safe, regardless of what you believe.
I see it as an erosion on maybe an attack on the treaty and the Canadian identity, and I'm very I'm passionate in upholding, as an Indigenous young man, upholding the past and tradition and what the treaties and what this nation stood for at the end of the day.
Should there be a separation of mosque and state or not? I mean, you're saying for 5 minutes, okay.
Why not?
Well, because some people don't want to hear an Islamic evangelical message.
And some people don't want to hear the bells proclaiming.
I've never heard that. And a bell is just a tone. And listen, I've really enjoyed talking with you. You've had some great points, and I appreciate you stopping to talk to me. All the best. Hopefully this will be figured out somehow.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
And if we can all learn to love each other, we can figure it out easily.
All right. Well, let's not talk about the jihad. Very interesting folks there.
You know what CBC is? No, man. You guys have an agenda.
You got a lot of nerve saying he doesn't belong here and I don't belong here. We're here before you were. Nobody says you're not welcome. We don't force our religion down your throat. Why are you trying to force your religion down our throat?
Forcing on you guys. We have our permits. A
permit.
So
How do you get a permit from the police? That's a new one, isn't it?
No, that's not a new one. People have permits from police all the time.
Do you think the police should arrest Rebel News?
Rebel News? No.
No? Okay,
You guys
good. I
should
just
have your
checking.
fake news be put online. You guys should just
We are
have the fake
online.
news posted online, not rebel.
We are
You guys are
online.
nothing but rebel, but fake. All right.
From what I can tell, this went through the police rather than City Hall. I've heard that. Now, again, politicians are the most politically correct people around. They're worried about what the media says. They're worried about all sorts of things. If this goes to the broader city council, how do you think it's going to go?
Well, I hope it goes good. How do I think? I don't like to make predictions, or assume anything in the world anymore, because it could go either way now at this point. Sorry, but no idea. I can't even predict. Hopefully the best, So.
Isn't Canada a Christian country?
No. I think that at times different people who came from different Christian denominations or from a Judeo-Christian background were the ones who, in the way that this place was colonized, definitely gave shape to the fabric here. But I don't think it's fair to say, as a Christian leader, I don't think it's fair to say that this place is a Christian country.
Well, what is it then?
This place is a constitutional monarchy. And so we exist under a parliamentary system.
But the king is the head of the Church of England.
He is on paper, yeah, but he's not making decisions on behalf of the church.
So I'm trying to understand, if it's not a Christian country, what are the values that infuse it then? It's certainly not Islamic values.
What would you categorize as Islamic values?
Well, I would, I think that I look around the world and there's no Muslim country that has the equality of men and women, that has protection for minorities, that has the liberties that we do. I think, unfortunately, Muslim countries have a propensity towards solving problems through violence, through the jihad. So I don't think that those are, I think that those are some of the qualities I look around the world contemporarily and historically. And obviously, thank God, most Muslims or many Muslims do not subscribe to those views. But I don't think it's accurate to say that Canada is infused with Muslim values. I just don't think it is.
Yeah, I think that Canada is infused with the values of inclusion and welcome.
But you guys are not welcoming. You guys trying to tell me.
Well, you're the one who told us I have to leave. You're the one who told me I have to leave, and I'm not welcome here.
You're like a freaking fourth generation Scottish or something, or Irish or shit like that.
You're a life, buddy.
You guys are not even freaking Canadians.
You know what? I rarely receive compliments like that, but being called a fourth generation Scots-Irish is one of the nicest things anyone has ever said to me. I love the Scottish people. I love the Irish people. And here we are. I did not expect that today. I'm being called Scots-Irish. I'm going to go have a Guinness.
Meaning of Assalamu Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Is a peace, blessings, and mercy be in each and every one of you.
Can I ask why you're dealing with the police instead of city council? And I mean, the police put out a tweet that was slightly menacing, suggesting if people did the wrong thing, they would be charged with a hate crime. Isn't the dialogue that you say you want, isn't the right way to do that through city council, through a debate, instead of getting it done through the police?
I highly appreciate and I respect what you are saying. I totally agree with you, because if there is any problem like in between us, it's first to discuss like together before we inform the police. It is just not like me that I inform police. It's a police they involved, because this is an issue, right, for the greater community. It is not me that I involve police first, because the comment that we have received, like from the social media, those are also threats. And when we feel that we also need to contact the police, because this is not the councilor issue, this is the police issue.
What kind of threats were you receiving, or were people in the community receiving? Do you have an example?
The example I can share with you, I have received phone calls. I have also received emails that is saying the speaker on the rooftop, that they are coming and they are taking it out. So that was the one thread. Another thread, they are saying like they do not understand like what we are saying in Arabic, and they are afraid about this. And so he was very angry at the beginning, and after that I explained him and I said, what exactly you feel the problem is? So they find there are several like ayat, like in the Holy Quran, that is contradictory with their based on the explanation that they have from the other people. So we discussed on that matter over the phone. He was very angry at the beginning, and after that he calmed down, and then he said, the way you explained it to me, I am not only one person, I'm calling actually on behalf of 50 other people who are with me. So they told me to contact with you to find out what exactly is your planning. Are you doing it for a short time, or you are continuing it for permanently?
But was there actually threats? So someone saying he didn't understand and was angry, I don't know if that's a threat.
So the threats, like, because they do not understand the meaning of call to prayer. So the threat, they said they are coming to take the mic out. That's one, right? So another, like the call I received the messages, it says to stop, like a call to prayer, and he doesn't want to see that. So what will be the consequences like that? I don't know, because this is I think in Canada, this is the first attempt that we have taken that we also would like to continue. So we would like to clear to the community, like what are they thinking, because the different community, they have different cultural background. Some of them maybe they do not understand.
Well, will you have a public consultation? Because I understand that City Council felt sort of short-circuited here, that you went a different route, and only now you're talking about consultation.
I went to the city of Regina in person before we have the call to prayer, because I do not know what is the bylaw from the city of Regina.
Right, but was there a consultation, like a public consultation, public hearing?
Like a public hearing, because we want to make sure that we follow the rules in Canada, right? So that is the reason, because city of Regina just step away, and we always keep in touch with them to make sure we are doing everything right. So we understand there will have a loudspeaker, and the call to prayer will have with a loud sound. So first I thought to visit a city of Regina. So I went there, and then the lady I spoke with and told me, will that be 5 times a day? Will that be early morning? Will that be at night? And then I clarify all this, that no, it will be only on Friday, 2 to 3 minutes, the noon time. Before the noon prayer, because it depends on the sun position. Then she said, no, it is not a problem then. So you need to go in person to the Regina Police Services and you talk with them.
A question about Christianity in the public square. The Lord's Prayer is no longer said at the beginning of meetings or school. Crosses are being removed from official emblems. So Christianity is being driven from the public square in the name of diversity or tolerance. But your call to prayer says Allah is great, Allah is the only God, so it's bringing Islam into the public square. What do you think about people who might say it's a dominating move? Well, I think a lot of people think this is a religion in the public square. We've removed Christianity from the public square. Why is Islam coming into the public square?
We are not here like to dominate anything, right, or any public. We are here to follow our religion. So there are other religion also, right? And we have a religion of freedom in Canada, right? We are free to follow our own religion.
But a microphone or an amplification system for 1 kilometer, people who are critics of Islam, skeptics of Islam, who might be apostates of Islam, must listen to your particular prayer. And they have no choice about it. And so you say it's a religion of freedom, but you're imposing the call to prayer on anyone within a 1 kilometer radius.
I highly appreciate the question that you are asking. That is also one of the reasons why we paused this Friday, because we also would like the neighbor's opinion about the sound distance, right? So that is what also we are assessing from the local, like the community, to understand like what are they thinking about the volume of the sound. If it is required to reduce the volume, obviously, because we are here like working each other and like helping each other. So if we don't want obviously to bother anybody, so we will assess that to determine the volume of the sound, how far that would be like appropriate from this point. So we are thinking that it should be less than one kilometer, because there in that direction, I think there are offices on that direction, there are residential areas. So we also will visit and check to see what are they thinking, because our priority is the neighbors. So if the neighbors has no problem, we should not have any problem.
What if they're afraid to say they have a problem? I spoke to a number of people who are worried that they'll be deplatformed or canceled if they criticize Islam. And of course, I did streeters outside, and a number of people said they don't want to go on camera criticizing Islam. And the police have said that they'll prosecute people who cross the line. So can you really hear from people who are skeptics if they're afraid of being called racist or Islamophobic, or if they're afraid that all these cops are going to follow through on their threat to prosecute under the hate speech law?
So this is a new issues arised, right? So as I mentioned, the survey, we are not collecting any name, any contact information, right? So it will be anonymous. So anybody who want, like they can participate, they can attend, right? And if anybody they don't like it, I would suggest that we also collect those information, because the call to prayer will not be for only one day. It will be continuous.
So you're collecting the information though?
Yes, yeah, we are going through from today. We are starting like a printout survey to share to the local community. Yes, and we also will share this with the Regina Police Services. We also talked about this with them.
So there's lots of people following blindly what they see online about this. What do you say to them about their following these people blindly and their hatred and all of that?
Yes, that's a very good question, because the problem actually arising, there are many people, they actually don't know what is Islam, right? Because they hear through the media, right, what is happening in Afghanistan, what is happening in Dubai, Qatar, in different countries, right, in Iraq, right? So we are not actually blaming the people who has the negative comment, okay? Because we feel sorry, right? Because for last 1400 years, we could not answer those questions. It's keep happening around the world, but this is Canada, right? So if there is any problem, and if we are not resolving these issues, that is why I would like also a message from the Saskatchewan, the premier, and also from the city mayor, right? Because we have a religion of freedom. So like keeping quiet is not answering what exactly like we want to do. So we also have a children, we also have a generation. We need to end these issues, right? And here, the Muslim community also from around the world, they are coming here, right? We also don't want them to be treated like a negatively, right? What is in the religion that is more important than what the people are saying, right? So, like we don't expect, to have a positive feedback when they don't have the experience, like the positive experience, right? That is why we need to discuss, meet and greet, right? We encourage also, like the door is open, right? Anytime anybody they want to come, and meet and greet and talk, right? So we can find out what exactly is the problem, what do we need to do to resolve this problem, right? I think that is important.
I'm your neighbor directly across the street. We're the oldest place of worship downtown. You'll now be the newest, and so I just wanted to say welcome, and we're glad that you're here, and we're here to work together, and we support fully your presence here, your expression here, and look forward to getting to know you. So thanks for being here, and thanks for having everybody here today.
Thank you very much, and I highly appreciate that we have the opportunity to meet and greet today, and inshallah we also will visit along with the other members that we have to your place. And we also will see how we can work together and what opportunity that we can bring for our community here.
Well, after all that, they didn't actually play the call to prayer on those speakers strategically located on the roof, which makes sense because that mosque is not in operation, nor was it operational a week ago when they played the call to prayer then either. So it's clearly not done to actually bring people to this mosque. This mosque is not operating. It's about projecting that message into the community and maybe causing a bit of a kerfuffle. I was waiting outside here for that sound to go off. It didn't happen. And then I saw the imam himself come down to the door and usher in, I'd say, about a half dozen journalists and about a half dozen activists. Earlier, I met the priest who runs St. Paul's Cathedral, and I understand being neighborly, that's a very Christian thing to do, but he was positively an advocate for the projection of the call to prayer. I would encourage him to visit Bethlehem if he could and see how the mosques dominate that most important Christian site, which has a submissive status in Islam called being a dhimmi, D-H-I-M-M-I. It's a subordinate status that requires the payment of a jizya tax. When Islam conquers Christian communities, they often offer different paths. One is be killed, another is convert, another is live under the jizya. I saw this when I went to Iraq and I saw the Islamic State. It almost feels like the boss of that church is rushing to embrace a dominant, strong Islam. And earlier, I spoke with someone who didn't want to appear on camera, who said he was Catholic and felt it was very demoralizing to have the call to prayer physically aimed at a Catholic church across the street. He thought it was demoralizing, but he didn't want to go on camera. And I don't blame him, because the mockery and the derision that is heaped on anyone who even asks questions. I went in there and I asked a few questions. I'll let you be the judge of if they were good questions. And I thought the answers were better than nothing. But the clucking and the hissing and the laughing of the regime journalists in there was truly gross. It was sort of incredible. By the way, the imam himself was fine with me being there, and he answered my questions to the best of his ability. I asked him about the riddance of Christianity from the public sphere. I mean, was only a generation ago where everyone knew the Lord's Prayer, and that's how you would start the day at a school, at a public meeting. Now it's practically banned. I know that emblems are having their crucifixes removed from them. I mean, thinking of, if I'm not mistaken, it's the University of Alberta or University of Calgary, I can't remember which one, removed the cross from their emblem. Anything Christian is being denuded from the public square. But here is bold, confident Islam going to project itself in a 1 kilometer radius, even when there's no one actually praying at this mosque. And the local priests couldn't be happier. There were no police inside the mosque, but it was interesting because I asked the imam what alleged threats he had. And he said, someone said, I'm going to take those loudspeakers down. And is that a threat? I suppose. I think that's more someone just engaging in some puffery. And then he said someone was angry because he didn't understand the Arabic meaning of the prayers. I'm sorry, those are not threats. But the police published that there were threats, and the media published that there were threats. I particularly pressed the imam, what threats have you had? And that was all he had. Someone was angry. Sorry, being angry with your plan to broadcast Islamic prayer throughout Regina, that is not a threat. And what bothers me is that Islam is both at the same time hyper-confident, but also hypersensitive. I mean, you're literally going to blast a 1 kilometer area with an Arabic prayer that says, Allah is great, there is no God but Allah. You've got the confidence, you got the balls to do that. But someone is upset because they don't understand it, and you're calling that a threat, and here's all the police on standby ready to make arrests. I asked the imam who says he wants to consult. Why didn't he consult in the first place? Why were there not hearings at City Council? Why did he, and he described the process that he talked to some clerk at City Council, and that was enough. I don't know, I think that there's a lot of institutional force that's being deployed in support of this imam. What I mean by that is the people most excited about the Arabic call to prayer being blasted for a kilometer, they're not in the mosque because there is no one in the mosque. The people who are positively erotic about it are the priest, the regime journalists, and people who see Islam as the greatest challenge to the West. You know, when I was growing up in the 70s and the 80s, leftists made alliances with Soviets, peacenik. They wanted disarmament. That was the great counterweight to the West, the Soviet Union. And so you saw Marxists and Leninists and activists on the left. Now the great counterweight to the West is Islam, and I suppose China as well. And so you see all the Marxists who in the 70s and 80s would have been defending the Soviets are now just excited about the fact that there's going to be a call to prayer, whether people downtown like it or not. And that's the thing. They won't say so. The imam said that he will personally conduct a survey. I asked him how the survey is going to be done. I asked him a little bit about the survey. He said that he'll conduct it. Oh, well, I'm sure no one would be shy about telling him to get lost. That's the thing, is that it is terrifying to people who have a job that's at jeopardy to say, you know, I don't like an Islamic call to prayer. I'm not living in Pakistan or Bangladesh. Can we just please have Regina? You know, there's something to the fact that Islam is more confident than ever and the West is less confident than ever. We're the kind of people who accuse ourselves of genocide against indigenous people. We're the kind of people who say we have to pay reparations to blacks, even though we never had black slavery in Canada. And even at City Hall today, I saw such a mishmash of monuments about what is Regina. I saw a statue of Confucius. I saw a statue of Mahatma Gandhi. I saw an attempt to sort of blend indigenous rights with settlers and colonists, as they called them. This city doesn't know what it stands for. And if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. You've got a Marxist church. You've got other churches so delighted to show how tolerant they are. We even bumped into a pastor who said he couldn't be thrilled. He couldn't be more thrilled with things. There's a reason why those mainstream churches are empty, and this mosque, he says, will be full. A very interesting day out here. I came out here with my colleague Lincoln Jay. We actually brought with us a sound measuring device to measure decibel levels. And it looks sort of interesting. We tried it out on a passing ambulance and a fire truck, and we got the volume level for that. And we were ready to test the volume here, but alas, they said they elected not to do it. I think it was probably a good idea not to do it again. But they say that they have a permit to do the loudspeakers for several months, and they intend to do it. I don't like this because I think that Canada is historically and culturally and by our tradition and our law and our society, it's a Christian country. It's tolerant of minorities. I'm a Jew, but there was no better place in the world for a Jew to be born and raised than in the free Christian country of Canada. There's nowhere else that would be, America, no one else that would be as safe. But it's those Christian values. And you might have recalled that one Muslim man on the street who accosted me, denouncing me ethnically, saying I don't belong here. It was such an aggressive conversation. And then that one fellow who pretended to be such a gentle man from Albania, but in the end he refused to shake my hand. I think we have, as Osama bin Laden would say, a strong horse and a weak horse. And people prefer the strong horse now, don't they? Canada is led by politicians who don't believe in our own country. They don't even say Canada sometimes. They say Turtle Island, or at the very least, they give a land acknowledgement. They won't even say that we own the country, let alone stand for everything. They tear down statues of Sir John A. Macdonald and Queen Victoria. Regina is literally named for the word queen in Latin. And yet they couldn't be happier to embrace a religion that would put a queen in a full hijab or a burqa. And I saw that Global News has dispatched their hijab-wearing reporter on this file. But of course, I'm for freedom of religion. I really am. And I think if someone wants to practice their religion peacefully, go to it. I think the problem is one degree earlier, the mass immigration that has brought into this country hundreds of thousands of people who do not share our values and in fact are quite hostile to them if pressed. There is no Muslim country in the world, there is no Muslim majority country in the world that is tolerant of minorities. I suppose you could say the United Arab Emirates, but frankly, that's a majority of the people in that country are expats. I fear that what made Canada such a wonderful place to grow up, its gentle Christianity, is being pushed aside by a vigorous force that wants to shout out on loudspeakers, there is no God but Allah. And that's what's going on here in Regina. If you want to help us out, including covering it was more than $1,000 for each Lincoln and I to come out here on short notice. I think we're going to come back again when they fire up the loudspeakers. It costs us about $1,000 each to get out here. If you can help chip in, go to StopIslamicDomination.com. That's StopIslamicDomination.com. And while you're there, you can sign the petition. I think this deal is being done on the lowdown. I think that the police were happy to wave it on through. It was not subject to a debate in city council, let alone a public hearing. And even now, the imam says he'll handle the survey of neighbors himself. I think that this isn't the most pressing crisis in the world, but it's the camel's nose in the tent, isn't it? And as it goes in Regina, today it's one call a week. Then it'll be one a day. Then it'll be 5 a day. And it'll be every other mosque in the country. Does Canada have a core? Does Canada have a belief system, a culture, a tradition, a history? You're damn right it does. And I think that's what this battle here is about. For Rebel News, I'm Ezra Levant.